Your presentation was founded on the IPY findings from the assessment of the three poles. Can you tell me about this assessment?
Yeah, so first of all, we introduced the concept of three poles. So not only the Arctic, but the Antarctic and also the Himalaya as a third location where there's a lot of ice. And then we find a synthesis from all the data that were collected that are accessible. And I've developed a methodology based on existing approaches, how you can take it all together in one analysis approach. So it's a global analysis of all the three poles, rather than saying only Arctic, only Antarctic, only the pole, only the Himalaya, because climate change is global, it doesn't stop at borders, and so it needs to be a global view. And here I'm trying to optimize a conservation strategy or protection strategy for the three poles, for all the ice, basically. So it's an ice protection initiative.
Yeah, and the three poles obviously have a lot in common.
That is a surprising thing. I mean, I think most people realize the Arctic and Antarctic is not so different, but actually adding the Himalaya is interesting too. And there are a lot of things where they overlap, also in procedure and also in the players. The people who are designing and shaping the three poles are on a larger scale, almost the same group of people that are involved there. Of course, there are strong local differences. But anyway, it's a very eye-opening experience to go that route to compare all three poles.
You point out that the greenhouse gases are widely caused by human actions, that they must be reduced. Do you find the action regarding this lacking?
It's highly ineffective, and we know better that we should be effective. Carbon dioxide, as benign it might appear, it actually is a toxic gas, and it's a toxic gas to mankind. It kills humans in a certain way, not in a direct way perhaps, but certainly on a global scale in an indirect way. With sea level rise, people get removed, their life expectancy get shortened and so on. So there are many impacts by exposing or releasing carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, and we know we should do better. And the failure of the Kyoto Protocol, of Copenhagen, of even Durban, has been very tragic, and it definitely costs life, not only our lives, but also the lives of the future generation. So it's very serious, and I'm amazed that it's taken so lightly.
What changes are there to be made?
It's very difficult. It's known to be difficult, and so I propose to use science and research to find the best way to work on the best changes. I think there's no doubt we need institutional change. We need different institutions with different goals. We need less emphasis on economic growth. We need a different culture. We probably learn a lot from the native and indigenous populations. And I think a lot in our Western society, Western culture has been really proven wrong by now, including sustainable development. I think it has been very harmful in many ways.
And who will have to make these changes?
That's a good question. I'm obviously not the prophet. I'm just showing that there are problems. I would be happy to help these changes. But eventually it's mankind. It's humans all together. We're living in a highly technological world, industrial world, globalization, and so on. It's not only one player or one institution, but there are certainly many institution players that have been proven wrong, and they certainly need to change. But no, it's a cultural change and a society change and institutional change. And the earlier we go about it, we admit we must change, the better it will be, because business as usual is dead, basically.
You actually mentioned that a major global crisis is in the making. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, when you look at all the metrics, you will agree with me. It might sound shocking to people not familiar with the data, but if you look at the data, it's completely clear. We've missed the Kyoto Protocol, we've missed the Rio Convention goals. The United Nations has missed the values and the metrics, the goals set for the society values and social values for over 20 years already. We have not met our economic goals. We have an economic crisis as well. So just these 4 points alone clearly is an economic crisis. You can go one step further and can say, what about the world wars, like Afghanistan, Iraq is a world war, and also the weather events like floodings and hurricanes. If you add it together, it's a global crisis. Clearly is one. It's widely accepted as one, although many people don't realize or don't look at it all together. But when you take it together, it's pretty clear.
What is stopping us making this knowledge into action?
That's a good question. One of my last slides in my presentation talks about what is IPY actually proposing. And my feeling is that IPY is so much driven by measuring things, but not really putting science into sustainability in a sustainability focus. So we're lacking really the goal and the direction, and also the courage as scientists to bring in ethical questions, to make suggestions that we think as scientists are useful for sustainability, because you can also have disruptive science. So with sustainability science, I think that's needs to be the focus, and we need a different science model to get us there.
You say that there is currently no relevant interior, not a valid awareness, strategy, methodology, coordination or competence to reach structural changes that allow for catering all relevant human, biotic and abiotic needs for the poles and beyond. Mm-hmm. Why not?
It's education. We have an educational problem where people are not trained to go that route, including scientists. They're often wrongly trained in the sense of sustainability as a priority. We certainly have many lobbies that work otherwise, that don't promote change, business as usual. There's human behavior involved as well. So there are many roadblocks need to be overcome. But as you know, all new movements, including the introduction of seatbelts or showing that tobacco is creating lung cancer. It has taken time to change it, and so the point here is, I think the change is accepted, but we need to get there as fast as possible, and with the least harm that we can achieve.
And do you foresee a lot of bad consequences because of all this?
We have them already. When you really look at it with open eyes, you see the poverty gap is getting bigger. You see that we have global disasters. We have actually world wars. Almost all the big wars that we are familiar with, Iraq, Afghanistan, even Syria, Libya, have global involvement. It's one way or another a world war. We just deny it. So yeah, the consequences are already there. And looking at the situation, we run out of oil, we run out of water, we are running out of temperature, of cool temperature. There will be shortages coming, there will be conflicts coming, there will be more disputes coming, and probably there will be more warfare. We have already food wars that exist in many countries because of oil prices and because of climate change issues. So I think the world in the next 20 years at least will not be a happy place, probably not for the next 200, 300 years. There's no outlook that I know that shows me otherwise somebody shows me. And so I think it will not be such a happy world in the next future, and I'm sorry to say for our future generations. But
is there something that we can do now to make any changes?
I think the first is to be aware. I'm happy that somebody listens to me and to my colleagues. But secondly, be aware of changes, work on changes, and ask the question: what's science to be used for? What is an economy to be used for? How is ecology playing a role? How do we deal with ethics? How can we bring in decision making in a sustainable way? How can we make sustainability as a prime goal instead of going broad in all sorts of direction? I think so the well-being of future generations is a worthwhile goal, and that should be on the agenda one way or another.